Hello and
Hey, what's going on,
welcome.
everybody? Welcome to the For Monday podcast. We just made history for the For Monday podcast right now.
We did?
Yes, because we
Why?
started the podcast from countdown to camera correctly. Come
Wait,
on, somebody.
Let's make sure they can hear us.
Yes.
before we
Let's make
gloat.
sure you can hear us. If you're watching right now and you can hear us, yeah, you're right. Maybe my gloating was a little premature, but let us know if you can hear us all good and see everything all good. But we are so happy that you're here for the For Monday podcast. I'm really excited for today's conversation. It is officially November.
It is, and that means Halloween's over.
Halloween's over. Very sad. Very sad. Sad for you because Halloween is your jam, but I'm excited because I absolutely love. I love the holidays. I love Halloween, but I just once we get past it,
You're ready.
to me it's Christmas.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to somebody yesterday at Canvas, and they were like, so are you the one that wants to set up Christmas decorations? And I was like, oh, it's actually Travis.
Yeah, I think some people assume it's you because you are the more, you're the more extroverted of the two of us. You're more festive than the two of us. But like, I think ever since Finley was born,
You became Mr. Christmas.
Mr. Christmas, Father Christmas, or whatever. Like, I want to decorate.
You already bought a new Christmas decoration.
I did. I was ready to go to Target and see if they had Christmas decorations. And I was so happy that Christmas decorations were out. Christmas is here. And I just feel the magic in the air.
Oh my God.
I just feel it.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Some
it's
people
so good.
are going to be very angry because some people, they don't want to talk about Christmas till after Thanksgiving.
Some people don't want to talk about Christmas. And you know what? They are a Grinch.
This Christmas music. It's joyful
And triumphant. Yeah, if you're already hating on Christmas and just can't stand that Target is selling Christmas stuff and music is starting to maybe come out, like, you're a Grinch. You need a hug.
You can't be friends with Travis.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I am
so
so happy that it's Christmas. If you're happy that it's Christmas, go ahead and let us know in the comments. If you are crazy like me, just let us know. Oh, good. We're seeing some comments. I'm seeing Lydia woo from Lydia and Matt, our remote technician, audio and video, all good with a hand wave emoji.
And
Come
math
on.
petition. Now I can do math because Matt's here.
Yes, Math is here. I'm 110% that Matt is going to help us at some point in this show. And Eric, come on, he's watching, loving me some Christmas. I'm so happy that you are enjoying it just as much as we are. But we do want to know, when is the appropriate, this is a very important question, actually. And I have a feeling, Matt, who's watching, because I saw on Instagram you had a very strong opinion about when the Christmas tree where you live should be up or should not be up. So I'm curious for those who are watching, and if you listen to this later, feel free to shoot us a note on Instagram and tag us. But when is the appropriate time to decorate for Christmas? When is the right time? I would love to hear it in the comments. What do you think, Jenna?
I think people are going to get pretty rowdy about this one. I grew up always setting up Christmas decorations the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So 2 days after Thanksgiving.
2 days after Thanksgiving.
And I loved that until you kind of swayed me a little the last couple of days.
Well, I have not swayed Matt. He says the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So close to you, but your normal was 2 days after Thanksgiving.
Mostly because I had to do Black Friday.
Oh, you did Black Friday shopping. We did early on in our marriage. We were the Black Friday shoppers.
Friday was shopping and eating leftovers, and Saturday was Christmas.
It's interesting in San Francisco that Black Friday shopping really is not a thing.
I think it's, well, I don't know. I think it's dwindling though, because everybody buys things online. So why go to the store?
Freaking Jeff Bezos, Amazon.
But I'm sure somewhere it's still a crazy thing. I remember lines at Best Buys, people like camping out with tents and sleeping bags. That's
a little crazy.
I didn't go that far.
It's little America.
I only waited like 3 hours for H&M one year.
But I did sway you. So now we have come to an agreement. I'll be honest. If I could set up Christmas decorations November 1st.
We would have already,
I would do it.
This past weekend when we got new Christmas decorations. And we did get Starbucks red cups too. So
we did. I would definitely do November 1st. But we've come to an agreement because for all my single people, that is marriage. You work together, you're a team, and you make compromises. And so I made a compromise for the sake of our marriage and Jenna's sanity. And so now our official start date of decorations is the second week of November. So that's next week.
Yeah, second Saturday.
Oh, I can't wait.
Actually, second Saturday is this Saturday.
I can
Maybe we should
not
wait one more.
wait. No. I
Best
am.
way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
I'm
Oh,
ready
it's
to
easy.
sing
It's
loud.
just like talking, except
Oh
louder
my
and
gosh.
longer, and you move.
I'm ready to sing loud. I'm ready to
I
spread
have
the
a
Christmas cheer.
proposal. I have a proposal for
Okay.
you.
What's the proposal?
I think you should preach one of your December messages in the elf costume.
In the elf costume?
That'd be so
Why would you put
funny.
me on the spot on live?
If you want
on-
Travis to do that, let's see it in the chat box. We need lots of comments. To
I
make
need
this
you,
happen.
but I need you to think deeply about this. And if you're listening to this later, you can also let us know on Instagram and tag us. But like, just think honestly about what you're considering at this moment. It's not just
What?
an elf
What are you
costume.
talking
An elf
about?
costume consists of very tight tights. Y'all want to see me? I know Jenna does.
okay
Ayo,
with it.
but like, do you all want to see me in some tight tights? I mean, we'll have to hold a prayer service after.
I'm sure we can maybe do green pants.
Just green pants, not green tights. No, you can't backtrack. It's like so. If you think I should wear the elf or an elf costume and teach an entire message, no one will get anything out of that teaching. By the way, nothing. No one will come to Jesus. No one will grow
You
in their
don't
faith. In
know
fact, we
that.
might actually create atheists
Oh
after that.
my
They'd be like, I don't know if
gosh,
there's a God.
settle
After they see.
down.
It would be
Settle
bad.
down.
I mean, Giselle's on my side. Thank you, Giselle said, please no Travis. And it doesn't even offend me. I don't even want to see myself in tights. So yeah. All right. So let us know, when do you
so
think is the
funny.
best time? I see those comments coming through in regards of when you can set up Christmas decorations. But hopefully you are enjoying Christmas time. And taking time to move slowly through the holidays. We're talking a little bit about that today and actually all month long at Canvas in a series called Slowvember. But one thing we want to talk about before we get in that is a way that you shared on Instagram just minutes before we went live, a way that a surprise, actually. We didn't say anything on Instagram. So, but it is a surprise, something we're doing as a church that I think people are going to be pretty excited about.
Yes,
I know I am.
I'm so excited. We are partnering with an organization we've never partnered with before over the holidays. They're called Compass Family Services, and they support families who are on the brink of homelessness right here in San Francisco. So they have an Adopt a Family program, and we have been paired with 2 families that we are taking on this Christmas season. So that means
Love it.
we are providing everything they need to have a magical Christmas. We are going to be buying things they need and some things that they just would dream and love to have.
Because both are good.
Yes, definitely. So we have a family of 5, 2 adults, 3 kids, and then a family of 6, 2 adults, and 4 kids.
And I just want to say this again, like these are families who are homeless, like because I'm learning actually a lot about this. They're on the brink of homelessness. That's
wow. If they weren't partnered with Compass Family Services, they would be homeless at this point. So Compass Family Services, they're awesome. Their goal is to help at-risk families become stably housed and emotionally and physically healthy and economically self-sufficient, which it's like the whole package. They are helping families thrive.
Yeah. And we get to meet them. We get to meet them in this moment of desperation and crisis, and we get to meet some tangible needs, but also provide some wants for the entire family. I mean, when you looked at the list, what are some of the things that they're needing that we're going to be able to provide?
Oh, I'm going to try not to cry. It was kind of a reality check for me this morning.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry. One of the family's top needs was just toilet paper.
Yeah.
That's what they put on their list as a top need.
Yeah. It puts it in perspective. And they're like, we need to, like, when was the last time any of us watching right now? We're like, man, I just like,
and pillowcases.
Don't know if I'm going to have that.
Things that I'm like, I don't think twice about picking up at Target or ordering on Amazon, but things as basic as that to pots and pans. One family, they just need cups for their kitchen.
Yeah.
Some of the kids asked for like a Spider-Man backpack or a Spider-Man lunchbox.
Yeah.
Underwear was on every single list.
Wow.
Socks, some clothing items.
Just things we take for granted.
Absolutely. Diapers, wipes, and then things like toys too that we want to help and come alongside and make it not just the things they need, but things that they're excited about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely an amazing opportunity to make a difference in the lives of these families, 2 families that we're adopting. And I know Canvas is up for the task. I know we're not just going to show up. We're going to show up strong. We're going to show up and be crazy generous. I hope you're as excited as as we are. I see that comment. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. #family. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is about. Not only the Canvas family, but the Canvas family showing up for other families and treating them as a part of our family. We believe that we're called as a church to all people in the church, out of the church, all around the world, every need, every story, because every story matters to God.
That's right. And
This
so
is gonna be
right
great.
now, it is open for registration. People can go onto our events page of our website and they can actually select the items that they want to go out and buy and then bring and drop off here at Canvas. And then later on December, we're going to have a present wrapping party where we actually get to wrap all of these gifts that everyone in our our community has gone out and bought. December 13th.
December 13th. Tuesday night. Mark your calendar. Ain't no party like a present wrapping party, especially when those presents are going to people in need.
Right.
And this is going to be such an incredible, incredible thing. So we're adopting 2 families. They can go to canvas-sf.com. Right. Go to our website and on our events page. So go to our website, go to the events link, which is there on the home page, and make sure you sign up to be a part of this. It's going to be so special.
And you can look through the whole list. You can pick what works best with your budget.
Yeah.
There are gift card options if you don't have time to go out and go actually shopping.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different ways people can jump in, like even buying a box of diapers. So.
It's going to be so good.
I'm so excited to do this.
It's going to be great. So if you have questions, of course, shoot us a DM or an email, let us know, but be a part of it at whatever level you can. I would encourage you, all of us at some level can engage.
Yeah.
And if it's, $1, if it's $10, it's $100 worth of gifts, like whatever it is you can contribute. I'm just going to invite you to be generous and to be sacrificial in your generosity. It's really going to make a difference. I mean, think about how these kids are going to remember this moment for the rest of their lives. They're going to remember how a group of followers of Jesus showed up when they were in need and provided. And what a great opportunity to reflect to them the heart of and love of Jesus for them. It's going to be so good.
And just 2 points that I want to bring up. Presents can start being dropped off Sunday mornings at Canvas, December 4th and 11th. We need them by the 4th and the 11th. So you have 2 Sundays. Go shopping, make a fun family day of it. And bring your stuff on the 4th and 11th. And Compass did let me know this is the only presents they will get this year.
Wow.
They're that at risk that we are literally providing their
We are literally the only Christmas presents they will get. I'm glad you included that. I didn't know that either. Wow. Amazing. I hope you I got goosebumps actually, just like listening to that. And it's not about me getting goosebumps. We don't serve to get goosebumps, but it's funny when you bless others, you're blessed by it. And we haven't even blessed them yet. And I'm already blessed
I'm like
by
pumped
this.
up. I'm like, let's go to Target right now.
So exciting. Well, we can't wait for that. Hey, well, we also yesterday had a really, I thought, a historic moment for our church. And that was we had our first monthly prayer walk. Where
first in a long time.
First in a long time. I guess it's not the first one, right? Because we started Canvas by walking around San Francisco, praying for the city. And when we really zoomed in on the marina, we walked around. I've walked circles around this neighborhood. I've walked miles and miles around the marina, and Jenna has as well. Praying for this neighborhood. Our launch team of 23 people. We walked around the marina, almost 10 years ago, praying for San Francisco and all that God is going to do. And we did it again yesterday. Why do we do it, Jenna?
Oh my gosh, because when we circle things in prayer, things start happening.
Absolutely. We've seen that when we launched this church. I mean, I remember when we were first walking, it was, God, would you provide us a home to start this church, to launch this community? And God provided that. We were praying for lives to be impacted. We were praying for this community to grow and for people to discover Jesus and discover belonging. And every time I hear a story about someone experiencing Jesus or finding community or encountering just purpose in a meaningful way, it's like I go back to those prayer walks that we're still seeing fruit from all of those steps that were walked and all those prayers that were prayed years ago. And so yesterday we walked around the marina, a little bit shorter than we planned because of the rain, but we still got some steps in. And we walked and we prayed over the marina. And the reason we're doing this, if those, you're watching at a distance or not part of the Canvas community here in person, we are currently right now praying for God to provide for us a long-term home. We really want to go, and we really feel called at this point to go from being a church plant to being a church rooted here in San Francisco. We have no intention of leaving this city. And not only do we not plan on leaving San Francisco, we plan on passing on a church to the next generation. We believe having a home, a brick and mortar home for Canvas to put down roots will enable us to not only commit to the city at a deeper level, serve the city at a greater level, but also pass on this church to the next generation beyond us. Because that's what, if we just started this thing 10 years ago to die when we die or die when we leave, we're not planning on leaving, by the way, but then to only be as long or as big as us, then that would be such a small vision. And I believe God is way, way bigger than that. And so we have a vision to pass something beyond our lifetime. And so right now we're taking a step of faith, both literally and spiritually. We're taking steps of faith to believe that God is going to open up a door for us to become a rooted church here in San Francisco. So we walked around the neighborhood, we were praying, and it was really just a powerful thing. And I asked a lot of people, hey, what are you praying for in this particular neighborhood? What do you want to see God do? And it was really cool just to dream together and pray together over those things.
Not only does prayer change, like things start happening when we pray, but it really does change us. It changes the way we see things, we see people. It changes us from the inside out.
Yeah. I think that's, if you've never done a prayer walk, you might be listening right now wondering to yourself, that's one that sounds weird.
It does sound a little weird if you've never done it.
Yeah. I think people imagine that you're like walking down the street screaming like, Jesus, to each their own. If that's how you prayer walk,
that's
do
not
your
how
thing.
we did it.
But that's not quite how we did it. It's a lot more introspective and reflective. It's a lot more about slowing down and paying attention to what the Holy Spirit shows you as you're walking and as you're watching people in the neighborhood and what you see. While also praying either out loud or in your heart.
In your heart.
But it's a really, really powerful thing. But you might be asking, okay, you get beyond the fact that you might think it's weird. And now you're like, okay, it's not so weird. But you're like, but why do it? Why not just like stay at home and pray?
Yeah.
And you totally can. It's not like when you walk and pray and stay home and pray, it's like more magical, but there is just something different about walking and praying. For me yesterday, walking, I had this interesting experience when I was walking up Chestnut Street, which is sort of like this really clean, hip, active street in the marina. And I was like, man, there's just such a good vibe here. And then you're walking down Lombard Street and there's, there's homelessness. It's dirty. It kind of smells a little bit. It's loud, all that. It's just a little more chaotic. And just really like, I felt like God speak to me yesterday in that he was saying, that sort of contrast between Chestnut and Lombard, that it looks so clean and awesome and neat here, but then you go one block over and it's kind of chaotic and messy. I felt like God say, that's like a lot of people that they look so clean and have it together and awesome on the outside, but you just go a block down into their soul, into their heart, you find out, man, not everything is as good as it looks, that it's chaotic, it's messy. There's some brokenness there. And I felt like God was just reminding me there that there's work that God is doing in the marina, that the kingdom is about to bring forth into the marina. I'm just so excited about it. And that's just a reason why we walk and pray, because you're, as Paul prays in Ephesians 1, he actually prays that our eyes of our heart would be enlightened, that we may know the hope of God that belongs to us. And so Paul seems to suggest there's like the eyes in your head and then there's the eyes in your heart. And I believe like when you wake up in the morning, that's when the eyes of your head open. But when you pray, it's like when the eyes of your heart are open and you see longer and you see sooner when you pray.
Yeah, I love that. Man, one thing that really stood out to me, so this was a very different kind of prayer walk for me. Last time we did it, I was not a mom.
It's true.
This prayer walk, we actually had some families join us, which at first I was a little like, ooh, I'm used to the prayer walk we did before where everybody was quiet and we walked in a line and we didn't talk. And
wait, are you trying to tell me that kids can be distracting?
Listen, what? So obviously some families are there with kids.
That's shocking.
Oh my God.
That's shocking.
Here we go. Sound effects. But walking around with Finley it opened my eyes in a different way. It was so cool that she asked me, well, why are we doing this? And I got to talk to her about it. It was just like this easy moment where I got to have this like faith-filled moment with her and explain to her why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And yes, she may have been loud and running and I had to stop her 100 times and she, had fun and was playing and I don't know, but
she's being a kid.
Yes. But what a cool moment that we got to have that.
Yeah.
And even if she doesn't talk about it right now, I know that we modeled something for her
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
going to stay with her.
And shout out to the other couple parents who were there
Yeah.
with their kids as well. It is no easy thing to walk and try and pray while you have kids with you.
Yeah.
And but you're right. It's an example. It's the best, living by example is the best way to teach your kids
Yeah.
anything, right?
Mhm.
I mean, when it comes to screen time, I think about parents always tell their kids no screen time while they're on their phone the entire time. It's
Yeah.
like, well, if you don't want your kid to be on the screen, maybe you shouldn't be on the screen and you should model it for them.
Ooh,
And it's the same with like prayer, and it's same with faith. Like you can tell them that they should love Jesus, but the best example is you loving Jesus. You
Yeah.
you can tell them, hey, you should pray about things, but the best example is when they see you praying for things and not underestimating that just because they're 5 or whatever, that it doesn't sink in. I really
Right.
think it does sink in that Finley has this memory now
Mhm.
of walking with mom and dad praying for San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And not only that, but it kind of redirected my prayers to her as the future generation.
Yeah.
She is the next generation of the church.
Absolutely.
And praying over her that she will have an impact in this city or whatever city she decides to call home. Like it just changed my mindset a lot. Like
Absolutely.
just being with her.
Yeah, you're about to cry right now.
I'm always about to cry.
It's true. You're like the opposite of the Hulk. The Hulk is like, I'm always angry. And you're just like, I'm always about to cry.
Yep. Sorry, can't help it.
That's amazing. No, so good. So good. Hey, and if you're watching even from far away, would you make a commitment to pray for us? Would you make a commitment to pray for Camas, pray for San Francisco? This is a city that is truly shaping the world, and we feel honored to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But we really need the Lord's help as we step into this new chapter. And so if you're near or far, we want to invite you to pray with us and pray that God will open the right door and that God will really do a really beautiful new thing in not only this church, but in the city at large. And I love what Lydia says, love the past with Camas, but so excited for what God is going to do in the present and in the future. I love that. And then Matt, I see those prayer emoji hands right there. So yes, prayer emoji. And we appreciate you, man. You've been a big part of this church, and we're so grateful for the Dodge Ballers, the Dodge family.
I love that it still happens.
Yeah, love it. Love it. So, well, hey, we, jumping forward a little bit into what we talked about yesterday at Camas for those who weren't able to be there in person, which by the way,
Woo!
holy
Yesterday
cow.
was fire.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And it was probably, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. It was probably the best gathering in person we've had since we've relaunched.
Oh man, it was so good.
There was something about it. It was so good.
I do think it's so funny though. It started on a day where the marathon was happening. No one could get into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Teammates were 30 minutes late because they couldn't park or
Yeah.
get in. And there's this tension in the morning that we're like, what's gonna happen today?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, bam, God redirected our hearts and our eyes. And it was just a super powerful day.
Yeah. I mean, it was so powerful. And it just another reminder for me as a planner. It's so annoying. I wish I would just get it so God would quit having to remind me. But just another reminder that when things are out of control, God is in control.
Yep.
And in fact, when things are out of my control, they are really in God's control. And that's when they're in the best place for God to do something really special. And so, those of you maybe feel like things are out of control in your life, what if that is exactly where you need to be for God to do something real beautiful in your life? That's for somebody today.
Ooh, that's hard, but so good.
It's so hard. But so we started a new series yesterday that I'm pretty excited about called Slowvember. Slowvember. You just got to say it slow and let it sink in. And I've been excited about this series because, as I said yesterday, I love the holidays, but I have experienced, I don't know if anyone watching has experienced this before, but where you get to Christmas and it's like, dang, it went by so fast. And over the last couple of years, especially during COVID, I really made a decision. I wanted to move more slowly through the holidays. It's my favorite time of year. Why do I rush through it? Why do I speed by it? Let's really take it in. And so we even do this thing as a family now. I have a Christmas calendar that I make, again, total Christmas dad thing. But there's a Christmas themed activity every single day for all of December. And it's awesome. And it causes us to create memories and experiences and to move slowly and really enjoy Christmas.
Yeah.
And I just finished the calendar for this year and showed it to
Yay!
Jenna. And so it's going to be, I'm pretty stoked.
It's
I
a
think
good
it's going to
one.
be, it's going to be a good one. But, and if any of you want the Christmas calendar, let me know. I'll hook you up. I'll send you a template. But, the whole point though, is ultimately, how do we slow down? How do we, just be present, which is what we talked about yesterday. We talked about how to be fully present, how to be fully present. And chances are, if you're listening right now, you struggle with being fully present. In fact, the number one thing, according to one study, that people are struggling with and battling with right now is distraction.
Oh, that's so funny. And I can guarantee you people watching are also working or cleaning their dishes or
Totally. Well, I mean, because we got a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
We're busy people, and I get it, but like, we're battling distraction. And so how can we slow down and pay attention and be fully present? And I said this yesterday, and I think it's worth reiterating. I don't think you can step into your full potential as long as you are living not fully present. That you stepping into your full potential and you being fully present are connected. That you have to be here now if you ever want to step into the then and there of your future. And so this is just an important thing for all of us. You don't even need to be a follower of Jesus to agree with me on this. Like, I think we can all agree that being fully present is not only difficult, but it's so vital for our lives and for the quality of the lives that we're living. And so yesterday we talked about how do we be fully present. We talked about three things. To be fully present, you need to leave your past in the past, either your painful past or your successful past. You need to leave it in the past. To be fully present, you need to fight the fights that you're in. And then we talked about, to be fully present, you need to see what you do not see, or I might add, what you have not been willing to see. If you're going to be fully present. So you need to leave your past in the past. You need to fight the fights you're in, and you need to see what you do not see. And those who maybe missed the message, you can watch the entire talk right now on our YouTube page, but don't watch it right now. Keep watching this. Stay with us.
But it's so good. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would be curious, Jenna, as you heard that, what stood out to you? What did God speak to you? You're an avid note taker. I see the notes in front of you. So I'd love to just tee up a conversation with you.
Yeah. So I think this whole idea of not being present, but being in the past was what really stood out to me. And one thing you said is the real fight you are in is not with someone or sometime else, but with who you are becoming. And I really had to stop and think about that. The real fight you're in is not with someone or sometime else. So not the past, not even the future, but it's with who you are becoming now.
Yeah.
And that really made me stop and think, because I feel like a lot of times we can get very hung up on the fight we are in with others from the past, a situation, but you kind of redirected us to be like, it's actually with who you are becoming right now. And you gave so many amazing examples of this. I couldn't even take notes fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important fight, as you mentioned, is the fight within. It's the fight of who you're becoming. But it seems like we're living in a culture where we are sort of abdicating ourselves of the fight that we need to fight for who we're becoming, and instead we spend all our time fighting who other people are becoming, or whether or not they're becoming the person we think they need to be becoming. Like it just seems like we're in like a vulture culture, that we like to circle people in the midst of their failures and just wait for them to die. And like, we point it out, and we criticize it, and we judge it, and we feel it's like our job to make more people loving, or our job to make people more kind, or our job to make people more honest. But we never consider, hey, maybe it's actually your job to make yourself more kind. It's your job to make yourself more honest, your job to make yourself more loving.
Yeah.
Like, the greatest fight is the fight within to become who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to stand here with our arms crossed and be like, well, I'm waiting for them to figure it out.
Why do we do that?
Because it's so much easier. It requires less work. It abdicates us from responsibility. It feels better. Because when we have to stop and be like, wait, am I becoming a better person? Like, am I becoming more honest? Am I becoming more loving or giving? That takes way more work. But that is where the true fight is. Like you said, it's not with that other person. We can let that situation or that other time go. And what would happen if we really, truly looked at ourselves?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And we talked a bit yesterday about, especially leaving things in the past, that you cannot win you cannot win fights against ancient enemies, and you cannot win fights in ancient battles. Like, you cannot win the fights that you were in. You can only win the fights that you actually are in.
Mhm.
Do you agree with that? Do you think that's like, why do we keep fighting fights that we were in? And I struggle with this.
Oh, me
Like, there's
too.
times where I'll still think about the fights I was in during COVID, wishing I could change it somehow. But I don't even understand sometimes why I do it. But I find myself in that place.
Yeah, I think, oh man, because it's easy to want to change things that happened. Of course, we want to change certain situations that happened and revisit it over and over again. But we can't change it. We can learn from it and we can grow from it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, there's a lot of things your past is good for.
Yes.
And it's not to say, hey, just forget your past, pretend it didn't happen. That's not healthy.
Right.
Ignorance is not bliss. It's not to say that we're to just pretend that our past did not happen. That's not helpful at all. And that's not what we're talking about here. But it's understanding what your past is actually good for and what you can actually do with your past. You can learn from your past. You can grow from your past. You can gain wisdom from your past. But you cannot change your past.
Yeah.
You literally cannot change your past. Like, I think if I was the devil, right?
There we go.
If I was the devil, I mean, go with me.
Oh my.
If I was the devil, I would want to convince people that they could change their past. I mean, that would be just the to me, I think that would be like the strategy of all strategies.
That makes sense, because then they spend all their time trying to figure out this thing that already happened and is done and gone, instead of tapping into the potential of what God wants to do in and through them right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I could convince you that it's actually possible to change your past and that it can happen, right? Then you will use all your energy trying to do that. You will use all your focus trying to do that. And if you're so focused on your past, you'll never be focused on your future or obedient in your present. You won't ever gain wisdom, but you'll gain a whole lot of worry, and you'll be less alive, less human as a result of it. I mean, really, if and I don't know if you're watching, believe in a devil or not, but I'm just saying, if there is one, like there's an enemy, then I would say that's a pretty great strategy to convince you that you can change your past and fix your past. Now, I talked about your past can get rewritten. I think that's the beautiful thing about grace. I think that's the beautiful thing God does, is he rewrites our past. He may not change the story, but he can change the headline. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is the story and maybe the content is there, but the way in which you read it and see it and look at it can change. Like, God can do that.
Yeah.
He can rewrite it, and often does. That your moment of great loss becomes the prelude, as I said yesterday, to the moment of your greatest victory. Like, God's in the business of rewriting stories, but like, you trying to spend all your energy changing the past, it's an impossible task, and it will keep you from being present.
Now, I kind of feel like when people hear you say that people are trying to change their past, I kind of feel like people would be like, I know I can't change the past, but I feel like their life would indicate otherwise. Because I feel like we all know you can't change your past, but yet we live in a way where we're trying to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know why we do that. Like, I mean, and maybe it's a lack of honesty with ourselves. I mean, or maybe we do know, hey, we can't change our past,
but yet we can't let it go. We're still holding on so
still
tight
holding
to it.
on to it. Like, you need closure. I know I'm a big closure guy. I really struggle without closure, and I will stay in my past if I feel like the loose ends have been tied up. But I've realized in my life, like, sometimes you're not going to get the closure you want. You still, doesn't mean, just because you haven't gotten closure doesn't mean you can't start a new chapter.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think about something that this is going to offend you, and it's going to offend some people. Yeah, this is going to offend you. But I'm a big believer, like, if you don't like the book, you can just stop reading it and start another book.
That does offend me.
Yeah, that probably offends Jenna. Like, if I'm halfway through the book, I'm like, this book sucks. I'll start another book and close the book. And I just think sometimes when it comes to our past, like, the chapter is brutal. Like, you don't have to keep reading that chapter over and over. Close the book, start a new story. You know, I just think that, I don't know. We sometimes struggle giving ourselves permission to do that. I'd love to hear what you think. Even if you're listening later, shoot us a note and let us know. But why is it sometimes so hard to move beyond the past? I mean, especially when we know we can't change it. I'd love to see what someone's saying in the comments. He says sometimes they get stuck on hurts that happened in past battles. Could use a heavenly rewrite. Man, that's true, Eric. I mean, I feel you. I'm with you. I get stuck on hurts too, past battles, and a heavenly rewrite. I like that. I like that. I really like that.
I do think, though, going back to the past, there are moments that we should do that help us and encourage us. And I feel like it's when we look back on the past of like where God has provided and his victories, like those past moments fuel me for today.
Yeah, there's a place for leveraging your past for what God is wanting to do in the present.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've said before, God's past provision is the best predictor of his future faithfulness. So I can kind of go back on what God did before, what God did then, and use it as fuel to believe what God is going to do now.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think that's wisdom.
Yeah.
But wisdom, I think there's a difference between wisdom and knowledge. Like just knowing something isn't wisdom. There's a lot of people with information and knowledge. It's what you do with that knowledge. It's what you do with that information in the present moment that actually turns that knowledge into wisdom.
Yeah.
So if you're just going back into your past and you're just replaying the same story, the same content,
same thing over and over, whatever happened to you over and over,
but you're not actually bringing that knowledge and turning it into wisdom for today. Like, okay, what do I do with this? What do I learn from that?
Yeah.
Like if you're not asking, how do I bring this into today? Then you're really wasting your pain. You know, I think if you don't actually say, hey, what purpose, what growth, what wisdom can I glean from what I went through in my past? How does this make me stronger? It's easy to talk about the struggle, but it takes a lot more faith to say, but how does the struggle make me stronger?
Yeah.
And how will it make me stronger? And how can it right now make me stronger? That's when you turn the tables on pain and you assign purpose to your pain and refuse to waste it.
I love that.
You know? And so your past has a point if you use it right.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that is such a good tool for a friend to have, because I feel like a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody, they just want to repeat over and over what happened, but asking them, how are you using this to get stronger?
Yeah.
Is such a good question to have and to challenge people. So we're not just, it's important to listen, but to also to ask that question so they aren't getting stuck there, so that I can be a friend that doesn't allow them to get stuck in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we all need that friend. We all need that friend that will say hard things and challenge us and give us a good emotional shake sometimes, maybe even a physical one, just to be like, wake up. You know, we all need those friends.
Because we're all going to believe what we want to believe. We're going to see the things the way we want to see them.
We are largely our own worst enemy.
Yes.
I think if we're honest, that we tend to get in our way more often than other people or situations do. And the sooner we get honest about that, the easier it is to begin to find some ways around that and some freedom from that.
Yeah.
But, you know, like scripture says, the heart is deceitful above all things. Like what that means is your heart can trick you. It can play some games.
Yeah. And as much as we want to believe we can figure it all out and we see clearly, we can't sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's honestly wisdom to say, hey, even if you have a strong conviction on something, just being like, I think this is true, but there could be something I'm missing. And, you know, hold that posture of like, there might be a perspective or a vantage point that I don't have. And so how do I get other eyes around me to see what maybe I'm not seeing? I mean, scripture says before you go into battle, you know, get good counsel.
Yeah.
That wisdom is getting counsel before you go into the battle, not going into the battle and then be like, oh my gosh, help me. It's like, before I'm going to the battle, I need to get some counsel. I need to get some eyes around me.
Yeah.
Which I think is, you know, if you're trying to have a healthy relationship with your past, that it isn't keeping you from engaging in your present. I think that's a really good thing, is like having people around you that will call you out of your past and into the present, into what God is doing right now. And they're not ignoring your past or diminishing it, but they are reminding you that you are not enslaved to it, that you are. I think this is actually really important to know. All of us are products of our past.
Yeah.
Like none of us became who we are as people on accident. None of our personality, I mean, the way we vote, the music we like, the food we eat, the movies all these things, right? I think we're in small and big ways shaped by our past. We are a product of our past, without a doubt. But just because you're a product of your past does not mean you have to be a prisoner of it.
Right.
So it's like in my story, I am a product of abuse as a child. That's a part of my story. I can't change that. That's not going anywhere, but I do not have to be a prisoner of it. And I didn't choose to experience that pain, but I do have the choice of whether I will stay in it.
Yeah.
I did not choose my past, but I do have a decision every day whether or not I will stay in it and be a prisoner to it. And so if you're watching this today, just know, yes, you are a product of your past, but you are not a prisoner to it.
Right.
And that decision is entirely up to you. It kind of comes back to what we talked about. The greatest fight you will fight is the fight within. And this is a fight.
Yeah.
This is a fight. Who will you become?
Our past tries so hard to just keep us there.
Yep.
It really does.
It does. It does.
Coming back to this whole friend thing and people around you, I think it's also equally as important for us to give permission, because I feel like a lot of times friends will listen and kind of be, for lack of a better word, yes men. But when we give them permission, say, hey, I need you to be brutally honest with me.
Yeah.
You are giving them permission, and now you can, in a humble position, accept what they need to tell you.
Yeah. Most people don't stab you in the front.
No.
Not without
Even
permission.
close friends, I really believe this. I feel like you have to be, you actually have to spell it out for them. Be like, I need you to be really honest with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got to give permission. You got to invite that. And that takes courage, man, to invite people to say, hey, I need you to say hard things to me. Like, and it's got to be someone you trust. You got to be someone that knows you. Got to be someone who understands how to approach you on things. Someone who, wants what's best for you and is committed to your, not only your well-being, but your calling, your purpose and everything. Like get someone around you that you can trust that and invite them. Because that's the, one of the wisest things you can do if you want to stay locked in on the moment is having someone who's going to be like an anchor.
Yeah.
Right. And we all need anchors. You think about a ship. If a ship doesn't have an anchor, it's going to drift away.
Yeah.
And if we don't have anchors in our lives, we will tend to drift towards our past, or we will drift into our future, and we won't be locked in the present moment and what God is doing, which I do want to talk about that, because I think we've talked a lot about past, but there's also this component of not drifting into your future.
Yes. I think both of these hit different people. I think it's easy to get stuck in your past. But for other people, I think it's just as easy to get stuck in your future, constantly making plans, constantly thinking about what's next, doing the dreaming, the planning, and you miss what's happening here and now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think if you're a planner, a type A, sort of a control freak, like you tend to probably camp out in your future and try and control it as much as you possibly can. And what's hard about it is that I think there is what I thought was kind of funny is we just ended a series at Campus called Future Church. And then our first message of our next series is be present.
Be present. Don't think about the future.
Don't camp out in the future. So I want to speak to that because I think it is important to understand there is a futuristic component to faith. I think some of us think it's only futuristic, right? That faith is only about the future, that it's only about what God will do one day. But we got to remember the words of Jesus that he says, if you are faithful with little, then you will be faithful with much. So there's this idea that Jesus teaches that, yes, faith is about the much that you hope or believe God is going to do, but you'll never experience the much if you're not even faithful with the little. You'll never know the much somewhere down the road if you're not even faithful with the little that God has put in your hands right now. So I actually think faith is both present and future.
That's so good. And I'm probably not alone in this. When I hear that scripture, all I think of is the big that's coming.
Yeah.
But what do I have right here in my hands? Am I being present and faithful with the little?
Absolutely.
Right here, right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of us think that God cares most about what you say you're going to do for him in the next 10 years. But I truly believe God cares far more about what you are going to do and how faithful you will be to what he's put in your hands the next 10 minutes. That we think like, oh God, this is where I'm going in the next 10 years. And I think God's like, that's so cool. But I've have someone 10 feet from you, and I would love you to just be there for them and be faithful in that moment. Or I put you in this job.
Yeah.
And I know you really want the corner office. I know you want to be your own boss. And I know you want to move up the ladder. You're not there yet. You're here. You're not there. You're here. So what are you going to do here?
Yeah.
You be faithful with the little,
Yeah.
so that I can trust you to be faithful with much.
Yeah.
And if you think that you're too big for the small things, then Jesus would probably say you're too small for the big things.
Yeah.
And so faith is futuristic and present
Yeah. That's
together. It's two sides of the same coin. And so I think when we get lost in the future and we just talk about what we're going to do, but we don't actually do anything now,
good.
we sort of miss the point.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think about this. So I use this, it's called a dream planner. I use it every year. And it's funny. I was thinking about this during the message because I'm going to fill out my dream planner. Shout out to Horatio Printing, coolest planner ever.
It is a pretty cool planner.
I'm going to fill it out for the next year. And it really has you set goals and dream about what you want to accomplish the next year. But my favorite thing about it is it breaks it down almost weekly. So you're taking baby steps and being present in the moment. Yeah, you'll probably get to that big dream or big goal, but like, what are you doing today to eventually get there?
Yeah.
Which it totally made me think of that. Because it is like a staircase. To be faithful, you have to take just one step in the staircase before you get to the top.
But we want an elevator. We want faith to be an elevator.
I don't know. I think we want to just be transported. We don't even want an elevator.
That's true. We want like Star Trek, like, bzz, and we go.
Jetsons.
Yeah. But we approach it like we just want to get there, press one button and get right where we need to be. But you're right. It's more of a staircase than an elevator. It's one step at a time. And most often you don't see the rest of the staircase. You just see the next step.
Yeah.
And so faith is taking the next step.
Yeah.
Now, I actually don't think it takes much faith to dream about where the staircase might lead you. That's easy.
Yeah.
Dreaming is easy.
Yeah. It's the fun part.
Dreaming is like trying to have a baby. Like trying to have a baby is the fun part. Heyo.
Oh my gosh.
Like I won't go further with that
Yeah.
analogy, but you know what's real hard? Raising the baby.
Yeah.
Cleaning the baby's butt and not sleeping and
Mhm.
raising it and dealing with all the parenting stuff that happens, and it's like I think for us it's having faith about like where you're going to be in the next 10 years and where the staircase might lead. That's the easiest part of faith.
Yeah.
You know where real faith is seen? It's when you take it one step at a time. It's when you raise the baby.
Yeah.
It's when you do the dirty, grimy work that no one sees, but you're doing it because you know
Yeah.
that God is leading you somewhere and you don't want to camp out at step one.
Yeah.
When step two is right in front of you.
Yeah.
And so there is this like relationship. Hey, I'm going to hope and pray and believe for my future, but I'm going to be obedient in the here and now. And so maybe that's something good for all of us who are watching right now is not so much where do you want to be in the next 5 years or even the next year?
Yeah.
But what is the next step you could take in the next week? What is the next step you can take in the next day? What is one step you could take that you think would take you at least one step closer to where it is you feel God is leading you and taking you? It's learning. Faith is learning how to not despise the small beginnings.
Yeah.
Don't despise the small beginnings because the small beginnings can lead you to great outcomes,
Yeah.
but you'll never know if you're not here,
Yeah.
if you're not present,
Yeah.
if you're not obedient with what God has put in your hands right now.
I think that's a tricky line because you do also, I mean, what is the balance of dreaming for the future?
Yeah.
Because you got to know where God's leading you in order to take a step.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And well, pray about it. I mean, go on a walk and pray. That helps.
Ah,
But,
very well.
I think I don't know. It's very interesting. Like, because sometimes, hey, if God gives you the grand plan, that's awesome. But I have found for like most people, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, God doesn't just give you the blueprint and tell you this is where you're going to go in the next 10 years. In fact, I'll be honest, when I hear people, especially after COVID, they're like, here's our 10-year plan. I'm always like, are you sure? Because
10
we know
years.
how much can change in a single year.
Yeah.
So I just think it's more about, I don't know. I tend to believe that if you do what you know you need to do today, you'll do what you want to do tomorrow or what you're created to do tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you're just faithful today and you live ordinary every day, one step at a time faithfulness, you will get where you need to go. I almost feel like we overcomplicate it.
Yeah, we probably do. That's what we're known for.
And I almost wonder too, it's like, Okay, here we go. I wonder if, like, for some of us, the real reason you're asking God to give you the 10-year plan and to tell you how everything is going to work is not so much about you wanting to be faithful, but about you wanting to be in control.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, if we got real honest, like that, some of us are like, I'm trying, I'm praying, and God's not telling me. Well, maybe God doesn't want to tell you because he knows you're just after control, and he doesn't want to show you what you can do in control.
Yeah.
He wants to show you what he can do when he's in control
Yeah.
of your life. I mean, I think that's for me. Like, when I tend to say, God, tell me where you're going to go in the next year, 10 years. I mean, as much as I would love that, I think the real reason I would love it is because then I would no longer really need God
Yeah, you don't need faith. It wouldn't require any faith
at all.
because you'd know.
At all. And because God is so much more about transformation than destinations,
Yeah.
like, God isn't willing to concede that.
Yeah.
To say, hey, okay, well, you've asked really nicely, so here's the whole plan. No, I think, like, God is saying, I'm so much more interested in your transformation than the destination. And the destination doesn't change you as much as the journey that you take to get to the destination. It's the journey that changes you. Why didn't God just take Israel from Egypt to the promised land? There's even one scripture, I don't know where it's in Exodus though, where it says that God was leading them through the wilderness and he did not take them the shortest route.
Yeah.
It straight up says that God knew there was a shorter way. God says, I'm not taking you that way. I think that's a hard thing to realize. Sometimes God doesn't take you the short way because it's the long way that the lessons are learned and the transformation is experienced.
Well, and that perfectly loops us back around to the real fight you're in is with who you're becoming.
It's who you're becoming. I think that's really, like, if we could get that in our hearts and make that like our number one question every day, every week, who am I becoming this week? We make our decisions through that lens. Okay, if I do this, what does this nudge me towards? Who do I become a little bit more when I do this?
So good.
So it could be like, hey, if I do this, who do I become? I become a little bit more of a people pleaser. And I don't think that's who God's calling me to be.
A little more selfish.
I become a little bit more selfish. I become a little bit more greedy. Because no one becomes like totally greedy overnight, totally selfish overnight, totally narcissist overnight. It's like one little nudge at a time. Yeah, bitter, anything. Like, so let's use bitterness. You approach that and you're like, should I forgive him or not? Okay, who do you want to become?
Yeah.
I mean, you could totally not forgive them, but that will nudge you into becoming a more bitter person.
Yeah.
I don't want to become a better person. I want to become a more loving, gracious person. Then I guess you need to forgive them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? Who do you want to become? I wonder what things you would stop doing today if you decided what kind of person you wanted to become.
Oh, I wish I had a pen. I want to write that down.
And I wonder what things you would start doing today if you decided and looked at life and looked at your decisions through that singular question. Who do I feel like God wants me to become?
Yeah.
And if you don't even know the answer to that question, who do I want to become? Who do I feel God wants me to become? Like, if you don't even have clarity or language on that, start there.
Yeah.
Because if you don't even know who you feel wired or created to become, man, you're just going to be shooting arrows in the dark, hoping you hit something.
Yeah. And it's going to be very frustrating.
It's going to be frustrating. So maybe that's a question you write down wherever you are right now. Write it down on a piece of paper, put it on your fridge or mirror, whatever. Put it a note in your phone. Like, who do I want to become? Because you cannot choose who other people become, but every single day you are making decisions on who you will become.
Yeah.
And at the end of your life, who you become is simply the compound results of all of those decisions.
Yeah.
Like, no one becomes anything on accident. Your future is neither incidental or accidental. It's actually intentional. Through the decisions you make and the choices you make, that is choosing your future.
Absolutely.
And that is in your control.
Absolutely.
Ooh, come on, somebody.
I hope you all were listening to that.
If you're watching right now and you're hearing this or have a question or you just have a comment, leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. I do want to give just maybe 3 quick practical steps on like how to have a healthy relationship with your past and your future. Because I don't think it's like, again, I just want to be abundantly clear. It's not forget your past, forget your future, or pretend that neither exist. And if that's the requirements being present, none of us will ever be present. So it's really about how do you have a healthy relationship with your past and with your present. And I wrote down 3 takeaways and we can kind of riff on it a little bit, but we've talked about some of it. The first is this: Ask yourself this question. What are you going to do about it?
Ooh, I love that.
What am I going to do about it? So you're thinking about your past. You're thinking about that situation, that experience, that failure, that disappointment, that wound, that hurt, whatever. You're thinking about it. Okay, fair game. What are you going to do about it?
I love this. This turns something into action that
Yeah.
really does affect us today,
Well,
here, now.
immediately brings you into the present.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think you need to, was it Inception where he had the little,
Oh, yeah. Token.
the token? We all need like questions or like tokens that
I
like,
love that.
am I here right now? Ooh, man, that I need to do a series like on Inception because I think that's something he didn't know. Am I in my past? Am I somewhere else? Or am I here? And this token would
Was he
like
dreaming?
bring him into the moment and let him know where he's at. So I think these are like questions that serve almost like these tokens that like bring you into the moment. What are you going to do about it? And if you're like, if you have no intention of doing anything about it, you need to stop thinking
You're
about it.
just talking.
You're just- It's not helpful. It's
Yeah.
not going to help you. It's not going to make you become who you want to be.
Yeah.
And the same goes for the future. You know, you can
Yeah.
talk about what you're going to do and what you're praying for, what you're dreaming for, everything God's going to do. Okay, great. Do that. That's awesome. What are you going to do about it today? What is
Yeah.
one thing you can do about it today?
And I know we can all find one thing we can do. about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even if it's little, we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, in any healthy, like whenever somebody comes to me and says, man, I have beef with this person or something like that, like I always know if that person really wants resolution when I ask them, have you talked to them or are you willing to?
Yeah.
Because you do sometimes get people that be like, well, no, I could never talk to them, or I won't talk to them, or I didn't talk to them, or I would never talk to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, then why are you talking now?
Yeah. What's this about?
What's this? Who's this for? You know, and all of us need to vent at times, and there's space for that. And I think therapy is great for that, you know, and
Yes.
whatnot. But there's a difference between like thinking about it and being trapped in it,
Ooh,
and processing and being a prisoner.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when you're processing, that's fine. Process, do what you need to do. Do it with someone you trust and who loves you.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between processing and becoming a prisoner to what it is that you're quote unquote processing. So what are you going to do about it? That's the first question. How do you have a healthy relationship between your past and your future? Ask yourself, what are you going to do about it? And then the second question,
Is who can snap you out of it?
who can snap you out of it? What are
Coming
you
back
going to
to
do
that
about
friend.
it? And who can snap you out of it?
And I think that it takes takes somebody who loves you, who has good intentions for you, and who has the green light to be incredibly honest with you.
Yep.
They can snap you out of it.
Get someone who can snap you out of it. And you probably have at least a couple people. They just know how to cut through the noise and get your attention. Let that person have access, give them permission intentionally. Who can snap you out of it? What are you going to do about it? Who can snap you out of it? Last one, when will you give God all of it? What are you going to do about it? Who can snap you out of it? And when will you give God all of it?
Yeah.
And hint, the answer is now. Like,
Don't wait.
when will you give God all of it? Because this is a question that forces us again back into the present moment. So when are you going to trust God with this?
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe you're listening today, either live or later on, and there's something you're holding on to. And God's like, so when are you going to give that to me? When are you going to actually surrender that? When are you going to actually trust me with this and see what I can do with your pain, with your loss, with your disappointment, or with your hopes and dreams and beliefs for the future?
Yeah.
Like, when will you actually give me all of it? So I think these three questions will keep you anchored in the present. What are you going to do about it?
Love that.
Who can snap you out of it? And when will you give God all of it?
That's so good.
I am all about it.
Ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Wow,
Christmas.
it's not
Thanks,
even
Santa.
Thanksgiving.
Santa gets it. He is on board. I hope you are as well. I hope that was helpful. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, this is so good. So
Yeah.
good.
I think this is hopefully helpful for you. If it is helpful for you, then we would love for you to do something helpful for us, and that is leave a review wherever you're subscribed to this podcast, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this on your Instagram, on your TikTok, on whatever Facebook, MySpace, whatever
Be
platform.
Real.
On Be Real. I downloaded Be Real. That's another conversation.
save that
I don't
for
know.
later.
Well, that's another day. But share this, tag us, and we would love to shout you out as well. But help spread this word. If you found this helpful for you, I bet it would be helpful for someone else as well. So go ahead and make sure to share this with whoever comes to your mind. But we're so grateful for you. And I thought just today was awesome, Jenna.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
grateful for
all.
you, Jenna.
Oh,
You're
stop
awesome.
it. I'm thankful for you.
This is fun.
And all you guys who are watching live, thank you for being with us and your comments. We love you all.
Absolutely. Well, next Monday, we can't wait to join
We'll be
you
back.
and be a part of that conversation. It's going to be so good. 12:15 right here on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching from. Till then, have a great week and be present, y'all. God is doing something right here, right now. Don't miss it. We'll see you later.